Good afternoon, beginning farmer friends. I think that this is actually not, oh, there it is. You probably won't be able to see it, but it's kind of gelled up down there in the bottom a little bit of this filter. So I did get some new filters. I'm going to change the filters on the 4430. We're going to run it for a little while, make sure everything is golden and going. It is balmy today. It started out today at negative 10 degrees. I went and checked the baby chicks at negative 10 degrees this morning. They were doing well. I'll show you them in a little bit. But now it's 10, 11 degrees outside. It's crazy beautiful. So let's change these filters. Gel, no good. And that's 2. As I was getting ready to pump that through using the little hand fuel pump on the tractor here, I noticed that there's quite a bit of gel in that sediment bowl that I emptied yesterday again already. So I think I'm gonna go grab some rubber gloves because my hands still smell like diesel fuel from yesterday's job of taking that bowl off. I'm gonna take that sediment bowl off, empty it out, empty that screen out, and then we'll start pumping through. The fact that there's gel in there though has me a little bit worried still. I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Holy cow, it's running out. But I'm going to put a very little bit of Howe's diesel treat conditioner in there, just so it's going through. I need to get that back on. I got fuel running everywhere. So the thing about changing these filters is that then you got to get fuel back in them, which means you got to bleed the system a little bit. So on this side over here, there's a little bleeder bolt that I just unscrew a little bit until fuel starts coming out. It's not a great process, but we do the best we can. Well, I've made a mess of fuel on the floor and all over the place, but I've got fuel in the filters. I did put some more Howe's diesel treatment in the tractor itself. I guess let's see if it starts. A couple days back, I put a survey on YouTube kind of asking, what would you like me to talk about while it's stinking cold outside? Because the thought of going around and filming my daily chores while it's freezing cold, negative 16 degrees, negative 6 for a high, that's coming this weekend, it just sounded miserable. And I put a few different choices out there, but the most popular choice kind of by far was, is 40 acres enough to run a profitable, only job meat business? I thought I'd talk a little bit about that today. Oh my goodness. That wasn't very graceful. It is crazy warm in here. Like, take down your hood, take off your gloves, warm in here. With that sun coming in, that window right over there, it's just absolutely great in here. I did say that the warning is coming though. Negative 6 for the highs on Saturday and Sunday. So, and that's with lows at negative 16 and lows at negative 18, which I guess is only 6 and 8 degrees lower than it was this morning. And the chicks did great. So let's get them watered. They're looking awesome. They're running all over the place. The reason that I chose 40 acres is actually pretty simple. It's because that's how many acres I have. And in fact, in Iowa, lots of things are in those kind of numbers. 40 acres, 80 acres, 120, 160 acre section, things like that. But this is a thing that I can talk about because I have experience with it. And I'll just tell you straight from the beginning, it really depends on your context and what you want to do. If you want to have 40 acres and raise beef cattle, maybe somebody's doing it, especially if a feedlot system or a dry lot system. But if you're doing 100% grass-fed, I think that's going to be a lot harder to do, especially if you're not utilizing every single inch of the 40 acres. Sheep, maybe. Chickens, absolutely, if you have the market, and the same with pigs. Joel Salatin's got a video online I think this says you can make $60,000 off of 20 acres with pigs. So the potential is out there. But what I want to share is my experience and what I would like to do with my 40 acres. Does it look like those Freedom Ranger chicks are getting bigger? I think it looks like they're getting bigger. They're a week old today. They were hatched on a Tuesday. Today's a Tuesday, so 7 days old, they're getting bigger. There's one other thing I want to make sure we're clear on, and that is I am not exactly raising everything on just these 40 acres, at least when it comes to feed, because I buy in corn, I buy in soy meal, and by rental ground at least, I buy in hay. So my 40 acres are not producing everything that you need to raise these animals, and I think that would make it even tougher. There probably are people out there that have a system that would do it, or maybe there are. I don't have that system. I want to be completely transparent here in that I have 40 acres, yes, but I have never made a full-time living on this 40 acres. I will say I don't think it's because it's not possible, but in my context, I have made choices that have made it not possible for me at this point. Maybe it's because I wasn't willing to make a big risk at some point. Maybe it's because I didn't put enough into the marketing, because I kept my off-farm job. The reality is that I haven't made it full-time on this farm. I'm not necessarily upset about that either. I want you to have that information. I'm a dreamer though, so I spent a lot of time thinking about exactly what it would take to make this farm be self-sufficient, as in keeping me on the farm all the time and this farm paying all the bills, health insurance, and the payments for the farm. Now, of course, land payments are going to vary from place to place, rental or bought. I'm just not even going to address that right now, because what I pay here in Iowa may be way high compared to what you could pay, or it may be way low compared to what you pay. So I'm just going to have to take that out of the equation. I would hope that you could make that difference up in what you sell your product for. If land is expensive in your area, I would think you could sell it for a little more than, say, you could in Iowa, or vice versa, less. You get the idea. But like I said, I'm a dreamer and I've got a plan. Let me kind of break it down for you. What would it take if I could just lay it all out this year and make it go on the farm 100%? How much would I have to sell? What would I sell? And where would I market it? This one would be easier to move if I hadn't like rammed into it and karate chopped it and bent it. Before I get into the numbers of livestock and things like that, I also need to add one thing that you need to think about is like, how much money am I trying to replace here? Now, I have a full-time job in town as a pastor, so I have to replace that plus what I make on the farm. There are some people that the move to the farm would be like a huge money savings for them, because they wouldn't spend as much eating out or wouldn't spend as much in town or fuel or something like that. In my case, we're already about as frugal as we can get, so nothing would really change as far as cost of living when it comes to something like that. So I need to think about replacing my town income in addition to what we make on the farm right now, and that's where I get these numbers. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Ethan, we get it. There's a million different factors, but like, what would you do on your 40 acres if you could do it right now? I'll tell you. On my farm, as much as I would love the lamb and the beef to be a huge part of it, really, I don't think I can bring those numbers in that much at all. Maybe we could get to a point where we make a little bit more on lamb, but we're never gonna make that much on beef. So for my farm, it all comes down to the chicken and the pigs. If I could go out and do it tomorrow and sustain the farm, I would say that I would have to raise about 200 pigs. Now, I know Joel Salatin says that should be $60,000, $300 per pig. I don't know if it's my location, I don't know if it's just that I'm not brave enough in my pricing, but right now, I don't make $300 a pig. What I shoot for though is around $200 a pig. So if I could get 200 pigs at $200 a pig, market them all direct to the consumer, we would be getting close. And then the chickens on top of that, I don't have these numbers nailed down as much, but I think that I would like to make about $10 to $15, or that I do make about $10 to $15 per whole chicken when all is said and done with inputs and costs and the cost of the chicken processing. I would like to do, say, 2,500 chicks. If you made $10 a piece on those, I think then I would be at a livable place, and I know I can do that much on my 40 acres. And then throw in a little bit of beef and a little bit of lamb. We could make a little bit more on top of that. The eggs, add a little bit more to that. But the centerpieces would be the chicken and the pigs. So is it possible on 40 acres? Absolutely it's possible on 40 acres. It's what do you want to raise that decides if you can make it on 40 acres. But more importantly than that, it comes down to, do you have the market? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But what I'm trying to say is, yeah, 40 acres, it's doable, but you got to be really smart about how you're utilizing it. Oh, it's dark in here. I know I got super rambly on this one, so I hope there was something that you could draw from it. I hope that it was useful for you, and I hope you get the mindset behind what it would take for me to make a decent and, you know, pay myself well living on the 40 acres that we have. Now, again, there are a million variables, your farm costs and your price of feed and what you're raising and all of those things. I think the biggest variable, though, when it comes down to it, is marketing. Can you market 200 pigs or 2,500 chickens or 5,000 or 10,000 chickens? Are you able to sell that much meat off of your farm? You can raise it. Honestly, the raising is the easy thing, but can you sell it? Thanks so much for watching. I hope you are having a great day wherever you are. I'm gonna grind a little feed here, feed the pigs, and then go inside before it just gets absolutely bitterly cold. Right now it's only 8 degrees, so that's like warm compared to what we're gonna have in a couple days.